So let's not sugarcoat this, okay? You're not broke. You're just disobedient. Yep, that was the same line that I had to tell myself. See, most believers are not in lack because Yah hasn't provided. They're in lack because they haven't obeyed. And that's what we're going to be talking about today. The fact that you aren't broke, you're just disobedient. So listen, I know this may kind of, rub you the wrong way, but it's going to be good for you. I promise you, it's going to be good for you. Get your notebook, get your Bible, get your pens, get your favorite healthy beverage. I know I'm always on some water. Um, and go tell a few people that we're here, that we're live, right? Share the broadcast, tag some people in the comments. And after this intro, we're going to get right into it. Hey there, welcome saving and investing. And I'm 1 Corinthians chapter 4, verse 1 and 2, saying that financial is not a set forget. Hey there, welcome to the Radical Godly Stewardship Podcast. This is episode number 32. That's right. And this is the show where heaven's economy collides with Earth assignments. I am your host, Dr. Lexi Johnson. I am your financial rebel, your kingdom disruptor, and your accountability coach into obedience. Because around here, we don't beg God for money. We align, we obey, we produce, we multiply, we dominate. Because stewardship isn't just about money, it's about mindsets, it's about missions, it's about multiplying what has been placed in your hands. So if you're tired of playing small and praying broke, that's right, not playing broke, praying broke, and calling it faith, you're in the right place. And we are going to dive in. All right, you ready? You've already shared the broadcast. You've already tagged some people and let them know that we're here. Great. And if you're watching from YouTube, make sure to like and subscribe. Okay. So, as I mentioned earlier, that our issue is not being broke. That's not the issue. That is the manifestation of the issue. The issue is that you're disobedient. All right. And I can say that because I've had to tell myself that. All right. So, we're not in lack because God has not provided. Because here's the thing, the Bible says that God is not a man that he should lie, right? And when he says that he provides, right, we have even given him a name, Jehovah Jireh, indicating that he provides, right? Then if we are experiencing lack, then it can't be because of something that he's doing. Gotta be because of something that we're doing, right? Something that you and I are doing or not doing that is causing us to experience that. All right. And listen, as you come into the room, say hello. Okay. Would love to shout you out. And as I get an opportunity to look at the comments, because sometimes I get started, y'all, and I'm in, right? But I will get an opportunity to look at them at some point. So let me know that you're here. Okay. All right. So here are some things that is disobedience, right? Well, that nudge that we have to apply for the thing, whatever the thing is. It could be schooling, it could be for a job, it could be for some position somewhere or whatever, or it could be for some other opportunity. We get a nudge to do so, but we don't obey the nudge, right? We've not obeyed the call to launch the business, right? Some of you have had some business ideas for years. Some of you even just for weeks, days, or months. And like I said, some even for years, some even for decades, believe it or not, and you've not yet launched that business, right? That is disobedience. Some of us have not obeyed the prompt to get our house in order. We have been hearing that in one form or another for a long time, and we still have not done it. We see everything that is going on in the economy currently, and we hear the prompting and we're still not doing it, right? So instead of aligning, what we have done is we have rationalized our disobedience. We have spiritualized our stagnation. And so we'll say things like, oh, hey, Myrna, good to see you today. Grand day to you as well. We'll say things like, I'm waiting on God. Now, maybe I'm the only one, right? Maybe I'm the only one, okay, who is imperfect in this place. But I don't think so. I think some of you all can resonate with what I'm saying. So we'll say things like, I'm waiting on God. Sounds spiritual. It sounds holy. It sounds good, right? I'm just waiting on God. I know He's called me to do this thing, and now I'm just waiting on God, right? And here's the thing. I know that there is certain timings for things, right? But you can always be doing something in preparation, right? So oftentimes we'll shift all of that, the preparation, and then the actual thing, and we'll just say, oh, we're waiting on God. No, the Bible says that when we wait, we are to wait expectantly, right? We are to wait in faith. And I think yesterday or day before yesterday, days are running together, I did an impromptu live, I think it was yesterday, and I talked about that whole faith thing, that it is not just this word and this feeling and this emotion, that there is action tied to that, right? Another thing that we'll say is, oh, I'm praying for confirmation. And, that's something that irks me when I talk to people, because they will get on my calendar, right? And in the notes, because they have to answer questions before you get on the calendar, and they'll say things like, oh, I've been needing this. I know God said I need this, or God, and not that they need my service in particular, just the fact that they need to get their finances in order, right? They will have been telling all kinds of people, yeah, God told me to get my house in order. God told me this, God told me that. And then when the opportunity presents itself, then you say, oh, but I'm praying for confirmation. What? Right? Yes, these are the type of things that we do. Another thing that we'll say is, oh, I'm being wise with my time, right? And if it's not that, it's a version of that, right? Oh, timing is everything, right? And like I said, in some cases, yes, but in a lot of cases, we're just using that as an excuse. And it sounds good, it sounds holy, it sounds all of that, right? It sounds like we are really tight with God. We in there, right? But we know deep down that those are all just um, excuses. They are all, rationalization so we can procrastinate, and not only procrastinate, but we stay stagnant. This is why you've had the business idea for 10 years and it's never gotten off the ground. This is why you have had this idea to write a book, I don't know, a book of poems or a how to book or a business book or whatever. And you've had that idea for 15 years and it hasn't gotten anywhere because you've been disobedient and you have been rationalizing that disobedience. And because you've been rationalizing that disobedience, you are stagnant. Okay. So, what I want to do today, what I want to do is to lovingly snatch the veil off, right? You are not waiting on God. No, you're not. You're not waiting on God. He is waiting on you. And that's the bottom line. Okay. Especially when it comes to finances, because he has already told us that we have the ability to create wealth. All right. Isaiah chapter 1, verse 19 is our key scripture for today. Isaiah chapter 1, verse 19. And it says, if you will only obey me, you will have plenty to eat. Now, I don't know about y'all, right? I'm looking around because I don't know about anybody else, but that is pretty straightforward to me. There is no hidden message. There is nothing deeper in there. There isn't. It's pretty straightforward to me. If you will only obey me, you will have plenty to eat. I have said over and over and over again that the Bible is full of if this, then that. And here is a very clear one. If you will what? Obey me. If you will only obey me, then what? You will have plenty to eat. So if we don't have plenty to eat, okay, and we can literally be talking about food, or we can be talking about just the whole idea of lack, right? If you don't have plenty to eat, then something is not right. We're not being obedient somewhere. All right. This is a promise that is tied to obedience. This promise is not tied to begging. It is not tied to crying. It's not tied to fasting and falling out, right? And I'm not saying fasting is not something you should do. Please believe me, I am a believer, okay, in fasting and doing so regularly, right? But even with fasting, once you have fasted, the purpose of fasting is to draw closer to God, to get rid of all the distractions, to cleanse, right? Spiritually, physically, mentally, all the things, right? So that you can hear him, right? He's going to give you answers and direction during that time. And when even in the midst of the fast, you need to begin acting on the instructions that he's given, right? So obedience is the access point to overflow. Now, I always want to say too that when I talk about overflow and when I talk about abundance, I don't want y'all to take it the wrong way. I am not talking about $1 million and jets and all of. I'm not talking about that. That's not what I'm talking about. Okay, overflow is just having an abundance of whatever resource God has given you. Okay. And money is a resource, money is a tool. And abundance can look like different things for different people. Um, Healthy relationships, all of these things are part of abundance. Okay. So that's what we're talking about here, right? Yes, ma'am. Obedience is the access point to overflow. Okay. So, why are we treating alignment like it's optional? I mean, the word is clear. If you do this, then that. But we look at it, we just skip right on past, and we treat it like he didn't just state it like it's just some kind of, optional thing. Oh, don't mind that. You know what I'm saying? Keep going over here and just praying and begging and crying and whining. Just keep doing that, right? Because it's gotten you everything you've ever wanted. Not from God, okay? And you might be able to fool people with your crying and begging and whining, but not God, all right? So some of y'all are rebuking devourers that you invited through delay. Yeah, I know. I said this one wasn't going to be a feel good today. And honestly, honestly speaking, a lot of times when I'm talking, it's not necessarily a feel good, but it's what we need. We need to hear this. We cannot have the itching ears, just wanting to hear all of the good stuff, all of the encouragement, all of the, you know, uh, I am favored and all that kind of stuff. Yes, you are that. But, and there are things that we're required to do on our end as well, right? So some of the devouring that has been going on in your life, right? You like get money one minute, it's gone the next, seem to get a blessing, but then something comes up and negates it, right? And you call yourself rebuking the devourer. But the thing is, you keep inviting it because of your disobedience. Yes, you keep inviting it because of your disobedience. It's like trying to clean out your house of evil spirits and you banish them out of the house, but then you go invite them right back in. Oh, get out. No, come back. Oh, get out. No, 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 come back. I didn't mean it. No, get out. No, I mean, come back. I didn't mean it. Right? Craziness. Y'all, craziness. All right. So, the reason that you've got poverty in your bank account is because you've got obedience in your lifestyle. Somewhere, somewhere in your lifestyle is disobedience. Somewhere. It could be the most minute thing to the biggest thing. And we're the ones who rank things from minute to big. It's all it's all sin to God, right? So this is the reason why I wrote the book Stop Begging God for Money, because I got tired of watching kingdom citizens suffer when abundance was promised. I got tired of watching believers fast for financial breakthrough, but no fruit, right? I got tired of believers binding lack, okay, when they actually should be binding laziness, right? And it says, that's good. We invite the undesired through disobedience. Absolutely. Absolutely. Right. And so, again, that's why I wrote the book, because I got tired of seeing that. First of all, I was tired and fed up with it in my life some years ago. Right. And as now, as am helping other people, see other people doing, going through the same thing. So I'm really sick and tired of it. Right. That we're fasting, there's no fruit, we're praying, there's no answers, or whatever the case may be. People are binding lack. I mean, some of y'all really know how to pray, like spiritual warfare prayer. Some of y'all really know how to do it, binding this and binding that, but you're not binding the right thing. You're trying to bind lack, but you should be binding laziness or binding whatever other area in your life, right? Is the disobedience. I got tired of seeing people cry out for a harvest when they haven't even put in any work. Faith without works is dead. Okay? Faith without works is dead. That means you cannot have one or the other and expect fruit. They both come together. If you have one or the other, is dead. It is dead, and dead means dead, like no life. Done, right? So I got tired of that. I've gotten tired of people, just not having what they could have in this area of life because God promised it to us, right? And so if you've been stuck, then this book is your wake-up call. It is not a book full of fluff. It is not a prosperity gospel sales pitch, and it is not a name it and claim it kind of mess for sure. Okay. This book is actually going to walk you through, you know, practically. We talk about the spiritual stuff, we talk about the scriptures, but it's going to walk you through practically how to align with the economic order of heaven, not just the hype of religion. Okay. We don't want the hype of religion. We actually don't even want religion. And some of y'all, what are you talking about? Go look up the word religion. Just go look it up. And you don't even have to go dig far. Like, you don't even have to go look it up in the Hebrew, although you could. Just go to your own Webster's dictionary and look up what religion means. Okay? That's not what we want. That's not what kingdom citizens want. All right? So what we're going to do is we're going to take a short break. And then after this break, we're going to get honest. We're going to do a stewardship check-in. Okay. We're going to do a stewardship check-in. And then, of course, I always want to give you all something practical to take away and do immediately after watching this podcast or throughout this week, right? So let's take this break and we'll be right back. All right, we are back. Y'all, I love that little trailer. I didn't make it. Shout out to Glory Mitchell. She's the one who made that trailer for me, amongst other posts and things that you may see regarding this book. Grateful for her. So shout out to you, Glory. Thank you very much. All right, y'all, we're back. We are going to do a stewardship check-in. That's what we're going to do. We're going to do a stewardship check-in. And let's get honest with ourselves, okay? So ask yourself, what have you been calling lack that is really delayed disobedience? What have you been calling lack that is just delayed disobedience? I want you to write it down, okay? Write that down. While you're doing that, oh, I missed a comment by Myrna. Says, we treat alignment as optional because we haven't recognized we're relying on the wrong system. Girl, what you done said. What you done said. Yes. So what lack are you calling lack that is really just delayed disobedience? I had to call myself on that right now today before I got on this podcast. And not that that was intentional, but I was thinking about, something, and I was like, I'll just do that later or do this later or whatever. And I've been saying that, for a couple of days now, making all kind of excuses why it wasn't the right time to do that thing. And I said, you know what? Nope, I'm going to do it right now. Right now, which is the reason why I was late in on this podcast, because I did not want to quit. I had a certain number that I wanted to hit. And I know me, right? So if I would have been like, okay, I'll put it down and pick it up after the podcast, like it would never get picked up again, right? Because after the podcast, life carries on. I gotta move to the next thing. And I would make another excuse. I'm just being honest, okay? Anybody else out here can be honest, right? Is there anybody else out here that can be honest, right? So I want y'all to know, like, I'm not perfect, but that's what makes me like able to talk about these things, right? Because I know it's happening. All right. Next question for stewardship check-in. Where are you asking God for provision, but refusing to follow the plan? Okay. So you've asked him to provide. He actually gave you a strategy. You didn't follow it. You asked him to provide. He told you to do X, Y, and Z. Reach out to somebody or create this or whatever. He gave you the plan, but you're not following it because you just expect him to just dump it in your lap, right? Where are you asking God for provision, but you are refusing to follow the plan? Write it down, write it down, write it down. And then the third question is where have you ignored small instructions because they didn't seem big enough? Where have you ignored small instructions because they didn't seem big enough? Hold on, I'm going to get my door while you guys answer that question in your notebooks.
Hey,
How are you?
all right. Hey, looking for my check.
Yeah, it is down in the cabinet there. Do you have the code to the box down there? I mean to this.
What?
This here.
I got another lockbox.
Yeah, you got another lockbox.
Oh boy.
This one is the key to that down there. Safe down there. All right, y'all. So Myrna says I definitely have areas that I must improve in. Girl, me too. I have areas that I gotta improve in, right? And even though that I teach on this, I'm well versed in it. I practice. And I'm a human being, right? I have the same feelings you all have, right? The same things that can be going through your mind have gone through my mind at a point, or maybe even now, right? So I get it, right? But we cannot allow ourselves to rest in that. And that's why I'm also saying that, you know, that's why I get out here and I want to hold you all accountable, right? So those are the questions. All right. So I'll repeat them one more time in case um, you need to ponder on it a little bit more. It says, what have you been calling lack that's really delayed obedience? That was question number one. Question number two, where are you asking God for provision but refusing to follow the plan? And question number three, where have you ignored small instructions because they didn't seem big enough? All right, those are the questions. Listen, delayed obedience is still disobedience. Delayed obedience is still disobedience. Can I listen? Can I tell y'all? I this week I have been struggling with that delayed disobedience thing. God said to do something, and nothing huge, just something minor, and I'm just like, I don't want to do that, right? Because that person just they're petty. They're being mad. And I'm being petty right back, right? He's like, I don't care that they're being petty. That ain't got nothing to do with what I told you to do. You let me handle them. You just do what I told you to do. I said, do X, Y, Z for this person. And then I was like, okay, give me 5 minutes. You know what I'm saying? I'm being a kid, right? Because that's the kind of stuff kids do to you. But yeah. So even delayed obedience is disobedience. And I had to tell myself that, girl, you giving all this mouth, right? All this, well, hold on, but whatever the case may be, that is still, or I'll do it in a few minutes. That is still delayed obedience, and it is still disobedience, right? So if we are going to be a radical steward, we have to do more than pray. We've got to move when God says move, right? All right. So here's the radical action step for this week, or in other words, your practical application. This week, what I want you to do is I want you to take inventory of the last 3 financial instructions you received. Now, this is going to be good because this is going to tell you whether or not you're even hearing, right? If you're not hearing, you can't even, I don't even know what the instructions are. I don't think I've even heard instructions. That's another problem because now you're being distracted by whatever else is going on in your world, right? You may be distracted by the lack, right? Myrna says, I'm guilty of noting things in my head and don't take the action in the physical until several days have passed. Yes, ma'am. I've done it too. I do it. Delayed disobedience, right? So take inventory of the last 3 financial instructions that you received. And I'm going to say, because again, some of you are going to be like, I don't even know. All right. You may not know right now in this moment, but I want you to sit and be still and ask the Holy Spirit, what have you been speaking to me that I have either refused to hear or been distracted and couldn't hear? Okay. That's what I want you to do. The next thing is write down how you responded when you got those instructions originally. Did you respond right away with obedience, or did you make excuses like I did yesterday? Making excuses. I was out of pocket, right? Write down how you responded. So, number one, what were the last three financial instructions you received? Boy, I can't get words out of my mouth today. Number one, what were the last three financial instructions you received? Write those down. And then number two, how did you respond when you got those instructions? All right. And then number three, I want you to choose one act of financial obedience that you have been delaying. What act of financial obedience have you been delaying? I want you to do that this week. Whether it's start the business account, whether it's reworking your allocations, whether it's paying a debt, whether it's booking a strategy call, whether it's registering your LLC, whether it's giving, because giving is a part of stewardship as well. Whether you have been instructed to give and you have not given, and I ain't talking about tithe. We're going to talk about that next week. I'm talking above and beyond that, right? And you haven't done it. So choose one act. I just gave you some examples. That's not an all-inclusive list, but choose one act of financial obedience that you've been delaying and do it this week. And then I want to hear about it. Come back to the comment section, okay? Come back to this comment section and let me know that you did it, okay? Because again, you're not broke, okay? You are not broke. Stop saying that. You're just disobedient. Okay. Hey, say, I am disobedient. That's what we are. All right. And if this episode is slapping you in the spirit, then good. I have done my job. Okay. I have done my job if it is hitting you right in the spirit, because that's what should be happening. That is the whole point. Because I need you and me to stop praying for results that we're not positioned for. So my book, Stop Begging God for Money, is officially out. It's a number one Amazon hot new release. Was number one. It was the bestseller, and number one in some of those, in a lot of those categories, but bestseller in 7 categories. All right. But listen, this isn't about the stats. It's about setting kingdom citizens free. That's what this is about. My goal is to put this book in the hands of every kingdom builder who's tired of the hustle culture, who's tired of spiritual poverty, who's tired of physical poverty and ready to step into dominion, right? That is my mission. And we're not there yet. We don't have a copy of this book in every kingdom builder's hand. But with your help, we can get there. All right. So if you haven't purchased your copy, get your copy first. You can do that at authorlexijohnson.com. Link is in the description or in the show notes. And then after you get your copy, do one of two things. Share it with 7 other people. Share the link with 7 other people, or purchase somebody a copy. Okay. All right. Now, also make sure that now I would prefer you all get the book from my website, authorlexijohnson.com. It is also, however, available on Amazon. If you get it from Amazon, here is the condition, right? If this, then that. If you get it from Amazon, then I need you to leave a review. Okay? I need you to leave a review. All right. I want to leave you with this. Heaven has never, and I mean never, from before the foundation of the earth, heaven has never had a shortage of provision. Never. What has been missing is your position, your willingness to move, to trust, and to obey. This isn't about earning God's blessing. It's about aligning with his order. And when you align, obey, and move, provision has to show up because he said so, right? So that's a wrap on the Radical Godly Stewardship podcast. I am Dr. Lexi Johnson, your favorite financial rebel, and I'll see you next time. Until then, produce, multiply, and dominate with faith. See you later.